studio. What we are now currently in at this particular moment is just a health break or a tea break here at the summit, because the opening statements were already ushered in and we are officially into CAADP 2025 here at the Speak Resort Munyonyo. And we're coming to you live, like I did mention, and we'll be giving you the exclusive insights and as well as whatever will be happening. But however, after the tea break, I need to remind you that we shall be having plenary sessions. Now, these plenary sessions will be closed, and among us the key things that are going to be talked about in the plenary sessions will include consideration and adopting, that is the work program, and as well there will be consideration and there will be presentation of the 10-year CAADP Strategy and Action Plan for 2026 to 2025. But now that said, as the many delegates and ministers are having their tea break, we are privileged to be joined by the regional coordinator of Eastern and Southern Africa from Agra. This is Professor JJ Muhinda joining us here this very morning at CAADP 25. A very good morning and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year, Joram. Thank you for having me today.
All right. You are live on UBC, and please, when you look into the CAADP Summit, we're already off it. One may wonder, looking into the 10-year strategy, how important and how significant is it?
Very good. Thank you very much. So let me just remind people that CAADP, known as the Comprehensive African Agricultural Development Plan, is the guiding framework for agricultural development in the continent. This year we are launching, as you rightly said, a new 10-year strategy and action plan that starts 2026 and is going to take us up to 2035. So this is the third cycle of CAADP planning. For those who might be familiar with the framework, it started back in 2003 in Maputo, and then we moved after 10 years to Malabo, and here we are in Kampala. And the objective of this summit today is actually to review the strategy and get it endorsed. And once endorsed by the head of states, it's going to be the guiding framework for investment, for planning, for implementation in the next 10 years.
And besides that, again, one may wonder, looking into the expectations of the Kampala Declaration, what would the viewer and any person involved in the agriculture sector expect amongst the key declarations that will be laid?
Absolutely. The Kampala Declaration, for those who are familiar with the sector, is going to be slightly different from the Malabo Declaration, which has led us for the last 10 years. And there are things that have been taken into consideration, including lessons from the Malabo implementations that were taken forward into the Kampala Declaration. Number one, in the Kampala Declaration, the new CAADP roadmap for the next 10 years has a very strong approach on food systems, which is different from what the Malabo was. Malabo was specifically focusing on agricultural development. This one goes beyond agriculture and looks at the food systems comprehensively. That brings on board other sector ministries other than agricultural, health, for instance, environment, for instance, youth employment, for instance. So that is a uniqueness, one of the unique areas of the Kampala Declaration. Number two, this new roadmap is taking place when the continent is facing serious challenges on climate change. So it has a very strong component on building resilience of our agri-food sector for the next 10 years. So investment are going to be really looking from a food systems-wide approach other than just focusing on the agricultural transformation.
And I like the fact that you mentioned something about the theme of building resilient agri-systems. I wonder, though, how can we build these systems in a world where we're having emerging environmental and social problems and challenges?
Very good question. So it's about really planning. You know, when we have been working throughout the last 10 years in the Malabo Declaration, as I said, the focus was more into agricultural sector development. Now we're talking about going beyond agriculture, going beyond food production, going beyond food consumption, and looking at nutrition issues, looking at environmental protection issues, looking at health diet, looking at health itself. So all those pieces brought together inform the new planning and guides the new investment towards building a resilient food system. As you know, agriculture itself is one of the sectors that contributes to climate change. On the other side, climate change also has an impact on agricultural production. So when you plan these things in isolation, that's why you end up having a system that is not sustainable. So building resilience means bringing all the pieces together, planning a production system that is not harmful to the environment, at the same time mitigating the impact of the climate change to the agricultural sector.
Speaking of stakeholders, Agra is a stakeholder in what we're having today. And I wonder, though, from your point of view, how do you look at the future of agriculture in Africa? And then also, what is your role in this strategy of building resilient agri-systems?
Absolutely. Let me just say up front that Agra is one of the technical institutions that has been accompanying the African Union Commission throughout the whole process of the CAADP planning and CAADP implementation. So moving forward, our role is not going to be changing. In Munyonyo here, the role we're playing is just backstopping the African Union. It's not Agra alone, together with other mandated institutions in the continent that have a role to play in this framework. As an institution that deals specifically with agriculture, our role is to support implementation of the CAADP moving forward. So we do play a critical role supporting national government, we do play a critical role supporting private sector, we do play a critical role working with partners to mobilize investment in the agricultural sector. So our specific role, you will see as the plan is being unfolded, it's going to be costly to implement the Kampala Declaration. So we need institutions like Agra and others to mobilize investment and support government putting in place an enabling environment for private sector investment, but also mobilizing resources from different partners. And that is where we come into play, Agra. So we play a role down from supporting smallholder farmers' production system, all the way to engaging national government in terms of putting in place coordination mechanisms, resource mobilization mechanisms, but also accountability mechanisms to make sure that all the resources mobilized are effectively used. But we do also play a role at the regional level and continental level. That's how we come into play as we support the African Union rolling out the new plan for the next 10 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for
having me.
And of course, and in regards to these particular conversations, you get to realize that the issue dealing with building resilient agri-systems is what is up for conversation. I didn't mention, by the way, that after this particular health break or tea break, any word you would use to say, is we will be having closed plenary sessions. In the same, there will be consideration of the plan or the strategy and action plan for 2026 to 2035, or the next 10-year action and strategy plan by CAADP.